following program is a presentation of Hall Sports Communications.
Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs, presents today's sports report. On today's program, we'll talk about University of Georgia football and more. And now, from the studios of UGA Football News on Facebook and Instagram, here's the host of today's sports report, Chris Hall.
All right, welcome today to today's sports report on UGA Football News. I'm Chris Hall, your host, and we're very happy today to have along with us Jake Skole. Jake, former University of Georgia football player. Quite an interesting story for Jake Skole. And Jake, it is very wonderful to have you on our program today, and welcome to today's sports report.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me, and it's always cool to get tied back to UGA, and I really do appreciate you.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your history. You know, back in now, if I get any of this wrong, you just throw a flag on me, okay? And we'll take a 15-yard penalty. But from 2010 to 2015, you were actually playing professional baseball for the Texas Rangers. Then you went to the Yankees. Back in 2010, you were a star football player for Blessed Trinity High School in the Atlanta area. Mark Richt came after Jake Skole and wanted him to be a Bulldog. But then Georgia Tech said, hey, come on to Georgia Tech and you can play football and baseball. I think you said, well, that'll be good. But then all of a sudden, here comes the Major League draft. And that changes all of your plans because you were a first-round draft pick for the Rangers, 15th overall. Now, did I get all of that right? I gave kind of the brief history of Jake Skole. Anything you need to add? Did I get all of that right?
No, you got it right. Yeah, the Georgia Tech thing was a lot to do with my older brother already there playing baseball. So needless to say, we got a little bit of a split household. When I get back for the holidays. It's Georgia Tech and Georgia now, which I'm fine with. Yeah, that's good. Now you have, if I can put it this way, quite a pedigree. Your father, your grandfather, and some others in your family. The athletes played professional baseball. So you come from a pretty athletic family, right? Yeah, sure do. We all grew up in Roswell, my uncles, and then my grandfather played Major League Baseball for the St. Louis Browns.
Yeah.
So he's Tom Skole is kind of where it started. And then I got an uncle that's at the Citadel playing football and baseball. And then my dad played baseball in college. My other uncle played football in college, so it was a pretty athletic side. That's the side of the family where I think the athletics are coming from.
So when you guys get together for Thanksgiving and you have that football game in the backyard, it's quite a game, isn't it?
It is. There's draft picks going on. There's separating squads. It tends to be pretty competitive.
Now, does Mom get out there and is she the referee? Does she throw the flag, or is she a coach, or what?
No, she'll usually cut us down once she sees some tempers flying. She usually is able to tone everybody down, get everybody in there, and start eating. So
yeah. Eating will solve the whole thing. You know, I have two older brothers, and when we get together at Thanksgiving, we don't do it as quickly as we used to do. I've got a few years on you, but we used to call it the Nat Bowl. That was our Thanksgiving afternoon football game. We call it the Nat Bowl, and we got the nephews and some of the nieces out there. Just had a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, enough about that. All right. So, Jake, what are you doing these days? What is Jake Skole involved in these days?
So I'm actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I graduated from Georgia in May of 2020. Jumped into a real estate gig here in Charlotte, and about 4 months in, I got a call from a coach from a independent ball professional baseball league, and I'm actually in the middle of we're on, I think, game 100 or game 101 is tonight. Yeah. And so all summer I've been playing for another professional team called the Gastonia Honey Hunters.
Oh, so yes. Yeah. One of the great names in baseball. Yeah.
Yes. So that's my summers consisted of a lot of more baseball. So I'm back in that realm, which is nice. And I guess I just can't put away the athletic bug or the trying to stay out there on the field and compete.
That's out. So how is your season going? How's the team season and your season going?
It's been great. It's they built a brand new stadium in this in Gastonia, North Carolina, and we're in the Independent Ball League. It's the Atlantic League, is what they call it. We've hit a lot of home runs. It's been a very great offensive season for us. And like I said, just being around the guys again, being in another locker room, that's kind of why I do it. And, I look back at these baseball summers, and in the middle of it, you're like, man, this is a grind. This is a long summer. But every year you seem to look back at it during the holidays, and you're like, man, that was a hell of a summer. We had a good time with the guys,
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to do that. And, hey, you never know. You may have a major league a ball club pick up the phone and give you a call and say, hey, we need some help. And if you can, around here, we're big Braves fans. Now, we love the Rangers, too, but we're big Braves fans. If you can help them out a little bit as they go to the West Coast, I would appreciate that. Try to hang on to make the playoffs. So, but let's talk a little bit about football, of course. You played for the University of Georgia. Mark Richt, I understand, was really after you as you came out of high school to come to UGA. Then you went to Major League Baseball. And then you came back and you said, hey, I love playing football. So you were a walk-on in 2017 for the Bulldogs. And so, you have it in your blood. You have that Bulldog thing in your blood. So let's talk about and we talk a lot about Georgia, obviously, on our podcast. Well, let's talk a little bit about Georgia this year. Now, you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. Did you happen to go to the game between Georgia and Clemson? Did you have tickets for that?
I had a ticket waiting for me, but we actually had a game ourselves that night. But luckily, Gastonia is only about 20 minutes away. So that our game ended. I caught the very end of the Georgia-Clemson game. And then, got to meet some family and friends out that were in Charlotte for the weekend for that game. But just fun to watch, and just even in the fourth quarter, that's all I really caught was guys still flying around. The defense was just everywhere they needed to be, and it was just a relief to see. When I came out of my game, I ran to the locker room just to check the score, and seeing that we were winning was just a breath of fresh air. I'm trying to check the trainer's phone and checking the scores while I'm in right field playing during the game. It's I got fans screaming at me, telling me what the score is and stuff like that. Cool. So they all know I played for Georgia, and it was a fun night, especially to hear that we won and get to catch the very end of it. So Georgia obviously winning over Clemson. Then last week in Athens, the Bulldogs won over University of Alabama at Birmingham. Just a quick recap on that game. Stetson Bennett played for the injured J.T. Daniels. And, when it was announced that Stetson was going to be in the stadium, that Stetson was going to be the starting quarterback, some of the Boo Birds showed up, which kind of disappointed me for that. But they were wanting Carson Beck. And the boos lasted one play because then he connected for a touchdown. What a game Stetson Bennett had. He was 10 for 12, 288 yards, 5 touchdowns, tying a school record for touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. Carson Beck came in, and Carson played for Georgia. He was 4 of 10, 88 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Brock Bowers had a great tight end, freshman tight end, had 3 catches, 107 yards. Jermaine Burton, 3 receptions, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. As you look at the UAB game, and of course we watched it, just a complete victory for Georgia, offense and defense. Now, UAB, not a bad team. Probably they're going to win their conference. They're favored to win their conference. So what has been your impression, just your overall impression of Georgia this year in the first 2 games of the season? Like you said, I'm a Stetson Bennett fan. I was there for all my years. He was in there for two of them at least, and just a really hard worker. Yeah. So every time he gets a chance to play, I'm all eyes and ears and trying to watch what he does. And then Beck too, coming in and having success. But I think the biggest thing and guys on my team are asking me the same kind of stuff just because I was in it. And I think it's finally, you're starting to see this system, and these 4 years and 3 year guys come in, and they're built around this Georgia system that Coach Smart has instilled in them. And I think, it's almost like you can plug whoever you want, and they all have this same kind of mindset, and they buy into the team and what they need to do. And they're, a lot of them are going to have success just stepping in, doing what they can do. And I think it's a testament to what Coach Smart has put in there defensively.
Yeah, Georgia you want to get to the point where you're almost like Alabama. You want to reload. You might lose 10 starters off your offense, but you just reload. And I think that's where Georgia is headed. Now, you were a defensive guy, defensive back at the University of Georgia. Georgia's defense has not allowed a touchdown in the first 2 games. The only scores were a field goal by Clemson against the Georgia defense, a field goal by Clemson, and an interception return for a touchdown by UAB. I think defense still wins championships. You got to have offense these days, high-powered offense. You got to go. But somewhere down the line, you got to have a stiff defense that's going to put up resistance to these high-powered offenses that you face these days. As we look at it, and of course we look at it with an eye that we really favor Georgia in everything. But boy, I tell you, I think this defense might carry Georgia a long way through the season and then into the playoffs. What's your feeling about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. The biggest thing that was instilled in us was stop the run. And I'm sure that's their same MO, and that's what they're trying to do. And it really does just put a dagger in a defense or an offensive game plan if you stop the run. Like, I think Clemson had 2 to 5 yards rushing or something.
Yeah, I think they had 2 yards rushing. As you take in the sacks and everything, they had 2 yards rushing.
So you can really just control, if you can control that line of scrimmage, it's so big. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And that front 7 that we have is able to do that right now. And like I said, that's the biggest goal for a defense, and that's what we do. And then you let your back end guys in the secondary try to make plays. And it's a system that when everyone buys in and you can plug everyone in with the athletes that we have, when it's run correctly, man, it's tough to run on. It's tough to pass on. It's an incredible defense that they got going on.
Yeah, and so this coming Saturday, Georgia will be taking on South Carolina, the first of 8 straight Southeastern Conference games for Georgia. We'll take a look at that after this break from Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs. When it comes time to finance or refinance your home, go to southeastmortgage.com/UGA. We'll be back in a moment.
Today's sports report will be right back after this message from Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs.
This is head coach Kirby Smart. It's my job to coach the fundamentals of football and prepare my guys for the future. Well, my friends at Southeast Mortgage are preparing you for your future by becoming a homeowner. Every Bulldog deserves a home. If you're in the market to purchase or refinance, I trust Southeast Mortgage to provide the best experience and get it done. Visit southeastmortgage.com/UGA to get pre-approved for your home loan today. Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Southeast Mortgage of Georgia Incorporated, NMLS, number 103956, Georgia Residential Mortgage License number 6578.
The only thing better than winning between the hedges on Saturday is coming home to this on Sunday. On the football field, I'm a coach. At home, I'm a dad. The field is where legends are made, where boys become men, dreams become reality, and teammates become family. Family is the most important thing. It's everything we have. And home is where a family's memories are made. So when the time comes to finance your home, make the smart choice and get your home loan with Southeast Mortgage.
Thank you for joining us, and welcome back to today's sports report.
All right, we're back here on today's sports report on UGA Football News, and Jake Skole is with us, a UGA guy, former well, I guess you still are a professional baseball player. I'm trying to put that on you, but played for Georgia, continues to play for now what was Gastonia? What was it?
They're the Honey Hunters.
Honey Hunter. Now, how did that thing come about? What is that about?
it's a local name. There was something along the lines of the Civil War, was a famous soldier or something that was nicknamed a honey hunter in that area, and that's where it came from. So I get some oohs and ahs and have to repeat myself sometimes when I tell people who I'm playing for now. But like I said, Gastonia does a great job. It's been an incredible summer.
Have you guys played the Savannah Bananas? Do y'all play those?
No. But I actually, before I started with Gastonia, I went down there and signed a one-day contract with the Bananas just to get some at-bats in. And I looked it up right after I signed this contract, and I don't know if I realized what I was signing up for. So I went down there. The batter hitting in front of me was on stilts. I think if a fan caught a foul ball, you were going to be out. I was like, what did I sign up for? But it was definitely an experience, to say the least. But it was a great time. They do a good job down there as well.
Yeah, I think every player announces their own self as they're coming up to bat, which is
I've seen
cool.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do some different things. All right, let's talk a little Georgia now. Georgia, South Carolina, this coming Saturday. It'll be a 7 p.m. game. Sanford Stadium, be on ESPN. The Gamecocks haven't said who's going to start at quarterback for them. They've had a former graduate assistant, Zeb Nolan, starting in the first two games for South Carolina, and they won both of those games. Or Luke Doty, who is the starting quarterback, actually the name starting quarterback, but he was injured, had a sprained foot in practice last month. And so Georgia, South Carolina has victories over Eastern Illinois, East Carolina University. They had a tough game against East Carolina, winning on the final play of the game with a field goal, 20-17 over East Carolina. Right now, the Gamecocks are unranked. They're a 21-point underdog in against the Bulldogs. But, you kind of remember that game, what was it, 2019, I think, when South Carolina came into Sanford Stadium and beat the number 3 Bulldogs 20-17 in double overtime. We don't want to talk about that. So what is your impression now as Georgia begins SEC conference play against South Carolina? This is one of those games. Georgia is a huge favorite, but you got a little intrigue at quarterback. Will it be Stetson? Will it be JT Daniels? You've been in the locker room for games like this. Okay, you're a big favorite. You're at home. You're expected to win. But it's a conference game, and these can be kind of dicey. Do you have a little, I guess, the heebie-jeebies as you come into a game like this, or is it, hey, we got this, we're going to go out here, we're going to play with confidence and swagger, we're going to win this game? What's the mindset in the locker room among the players as they come into a game like this?
Yeah, I think, half that team wasn't there for that 2019 loss. Maybe not half, but not everybody was there, so it's not really in the back of everyone's mind anymore. Some of the coaching staff, I bet, and then some of the older players. So hopefully it gets reiterated, like, hey, let's not let that happen again. Yeah. Also, Coach Smart was huge on, making sure when we play anybody that's in the East, we need to make them, afraid to play us the following season. Yeah. We want to take care of the East, no doubt about it, and that's why, I don't have too much, not too worried about this one, just in a sense of I know that get these guys to play. Did I lose you?
Yeah, we're good. We had a little glitch, but we got it.
So I know he's going to be ready to play, or all those guys will be ready to play just because it's an SEC opponent, an East opponent, and, Coach Beamer's over there, right?
Yeah, Coach Beamer. Yeah.
So, he's a special teams guy. They're going to be ready to play too. There's no doubt about it. But, I think that way Georgia's been playing, they got a chip on their shoulder, especially the way the defense gets to, potentially not let anyone score a touchdown again. That's a cool challenge, So you get a lot of things to hold on to defensively. I think the quarterback position, like we said, I'm not worried about it in a sense because these guys look like they've bought into the system. Yeah. And, whoever gets the ball, I think they're gonna buy in. They're gonna make the right reads, and I think that they'll be just fine on Saturday.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope so. And so let's look at some interesting games around the SEC quickly, and kind of get your thoughts about it. In other SEC action, coming Saturday. Very interesting. Number 1 Alabama, which beat Mercer 48-14, undefeated, of course, number 1 in the country, taking on Florida, which beat South Florida 42-20 last week. This will be the 3:30 feature game on CBS in Gainesville. So you have number 1 Alabama taking on number 15 Florida in Gainesville. The Gators, pretty good running attack. They have 763 yards on the ground in the first 2 games of the season, averaging 8.5 yards per rush. On the Alabama side, you got that offense that's just reloaded. Bryce young quarterback, looking extremely good. So you got Alabama heading to Gainesville. Of course, Gator Nation will be out, and they'll have that disgusting chomp thing going and all of that. So what do you think about this game? I mean, you got to pick Alabama, of course, but does Florida have a shot if they stay kind of close the first 3 quarters? What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't ever pull for the Gators, but
I understand.
I part of me wishes it was a night game, so they'd have to go into the swamp at night and fend for themselves. I think all these schools, Georgia included, Georgia, Bama, Auburn, Florida. Thankfully, we don't switch places with them. We play them in Jacksonville, but you go into those places at night, man, and they get the momentum. It's a tough place to win. And so I think that might favor Alabama a little bit. It's at 3:30, so it won't be quite too dark yet. But, yeah, I'm going with Alabama. They got a lot of firepower and a lot like Coach Smart. Coach Saban has those guys ready to play, and it's week in, week out. So that's a cool theme to watch on both of these teams.
Oh, well, the advantage of Alabama beating Florida, one advantage would be that it's an SEC loss for Florida, SEC East loss for Florida, and that'll, of course, help Georgia if Georgia beats South Carolina. Another interesting game in the SEC. Number 22, Auburn. Brian Harsin, the head coach at Auburn, Brian, new head coach. Last week they beat Alabama State 62-0. Will be traveling to Penn State. Penn State is 2-0. They're number 10 in the country in the latest poll. They beat Ball State last week, 44-13. 107,000 fans are expected to be on the hand at Beaver Stadium. This will be the ABC game. It'll be at night. First time in 90 years that Auburn will be playing a Big Ten game on the road. Auburn has scored 122 points. They lead the nation in scoring and in rushing. They have 1,151 yards coming from Tank Bigsby and freshman Jaquez Hunter. They have both of those running backs have eclipsed 100 rushing yards in each game so far. So you got Penn State, which beat Wisconsin in their first game. Kind of an exciting game. Then beat Ball State. You got Auburn coming in, traveling to Penn State. That's going to be a very interesting game. That's one of those games that I've kind of zeroed in on. What do you think? SEC going on the road to take Big Ten Penn State on Auburn from the SEC. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, this is one. I root for the SEC as much as I can, and I know it's Auburn, so it's tough. But it kind of goes back to, like I said, that those playing in the swamp at night or playing in Athens at night. It's tough to gain that momentum. If you lose it, it's hard to get it back. And Penn State certainly is similar. So this is a night game in what is it, Happy Valley?
Happy Valley. Yeah, that's where they're going to be.
And they got the whiteout going on.
The whiteout going on. They want all the guys to wear white.
So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Penn State as my pick, but I have followed Auburn. They're playing well, so I'm not ruling them out by any means, but just a tough environment to go in there at night and go win that game. That'll be tough.
Yeah, I have the sense for Auburn. Auburn's kind of feeling its way through. They've played some lesser opponents in the first 2 games, kind of feeling their way through. But I got a feeling if they go in and beat Penn State, and then that's going to do something for the psyche of that team. And Georgia's got to play them down the road in Auburn, and you got that rushing attack. So that's kind of interesting. And we'll see what happens. I'm going to go with Auburn. I love the SEC, but hey, it is what it is. All right, you got Tulane 1-1 going to Mississippi Ole Miss, Ole Miss number 17. That'll be Saturday night on ESPN2 at 8 p.m. And so the Rebels have won 2 games. Tulane almost shocked the world, taking on Oklahoma and losing in the first game of the season against number 2 Oklahoma, but put up a great fight. Tulane at number 17, Ole Miss. This is one of those games, I don't know, it's kind of a gut thing that might, Ole Miss might better watch out for Tulane. They're a pretty tough squad. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Tulane is better than a lot of people think. They played well against Oklahoma. I'm still going to take Ole Miss just because their eyes are probably open because of that Oklahoma game. And I like their team. I like Ole Miss. They're defending the SEC for us again, like you said. So yeah, I think it's Ole Miss's game to lose, and as long as they show up, do what they're supposed to do, they'll be all right.
Yeah, Matt Corral, great quarterback for Ole Miss, and their defense is coming along, but it's not where it really needs to be as far as the SEC is concerned. But it'll be interesting. All right, this is around here we love the Georgia Bulldogs, but one of the things I've kind of latched on to in the last 2 years is I'm the sole supporter around here for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has had such a hard time. Well, last week, Vanderbilt won a football game. They beat Colorado State 24-21, snapping an 11-game losing streak. Didn't win a game last year. They won one this year, and I picked them, and I was so happy. But Stanford will be coming in to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt. And Stanford upset number 14 Southern Cal last week, 42-28. Just took them out pretty much, and upsetting Southern California. I call this the brain game. You got Stanford and Vanderbilt. Any thoughts on this game at all?
I mean, you got to think it's going to be a well-disciplined run game. Just like you said, a lot of smart guys going on to making a lot of money. But, I mean, it just it comes down to who wants it more with those kind of games. And, Stanford's coming a long way. But, you think they'll be ready to play. They're probably excited coming off that win. So that's a tough one for Vandy. I'll go with you and stick with the SEC and pick Vandy to defend the turf. But so we'll see.
We'll see. Maybe the Commodores that will win this game. Some other interesting games around the country. Michigan State at University of Miami. That'll be a 12 noon game on ABC. You got Nebraska going into Oklahoma into Norman to take on Oklahoma. That'll be 12 o'clock on Fox. Purdue going to Notre Dame, 2:30 on NBC. That'll be kind of an interesting game. Notre Dame had a hard time with Toledo, for heaven's sakes, last week. What do you think about that game? Any thoughts on that game? Here comes Purdue into Notre Dame. Notre Dame, we love it when they lose. So any thoughts on Purdue, Notre Dame?
Purdue, Notre Dame. I'm thinking Notre Dame. We talk a lot. A lot of guys ask me in the locker room what about certain games, and I go to their coaching staff. I go to their mindset of their players, or from what I've seen, and guys that can come and they're ready every week. Those are the teams I tend to pick, and they take losses every now and then. But Notre Dame's one of those teams for me. They're going to come ready to play, and that's what I've taken that game.
And of course, they had a close call with Florida State. Florida State, what in the world happened to them last week when they lose to Jacksonville State on the last play of the game?
Yeah.
The fan base for Florida State's going, what in the world is going on? And one other game, of course, you have a kind of a Georgia Tech connection. We'll give you that. Georgia Tech taking on Clemson. It'll be at Clemson. The last time these two, and that'll be 3:30 p.m. on ABC. The last time these two teams played, Clemson won 77-7. Kind of just a horrible game for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, won last week. Any thoughts on Georgia Tech and Clemson? Hang on, Yellow Jackets. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe don't tell my older brother, but definitely going with Clemson here.
Okay.
But I just think they'll be on a warpath now, especially after losing to Georgia. They got something to prove, so that's going to be tough for Georgia Tech. But, yeah, just hang on and learn. You know, you're going to probably take a loss, but learn from it. You know, Georgia Tech has the ability to you know, hopefully rebuild and get it better. So, but, yeah, this will be a tough one at, you know, in Clemson, Death Valley, while Clemson's, you know, pretty ticked off probably still from the Georgia game. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with Clemson, but yeah, hang on, Georgia Tech.
I know, you know, give them a good first half. If you can hang close first half, that's what I always think in games like this. Man, if you can just hang on, don't let them get out there and score 21 to nothing in the first quarter. Hang on and try to keep it close, and maybe you'll have a shot. Well, Jake Skole has been with us today. Jake played for the Bulldogs. Continues to play professional baseball in Gastonia, North Carolina. So you have a game tonight. Who are you guys playing tonight?
We just got done with the Lexington Legends from Kentucky in our last 3 nights. We got the High Point Rockers, so another team out of North Carolina.
High Point Rockers.
Yep. So it's been an exciting, you know, summer. There's a team in Long Island. We're the farthest team south. Couple teams there's a team in West Virginia, so it's back to the bus life, the minor league bus life of going around the country. But it's been fun, like I said, just to be in another locker room and you know experience it with guys and touch lives along the way. It's just kind of why I do it.
Let's go down. Are you the old guy on the team? You've been around a little bit. Are you the senior citizen on the team?
You know, it's actually a funny league, which it's not affiliated with any major league team, so it's a hodgepodge of guys. You know, there's 22-year-old, 23-year-olds just out of college who didn't quite get a chance, and then there's probably 4 or 5 major league players that are still looking to play that you know that are looking to get back into Major League Baseball and in the minors. I think everyone's goal from this league is to get to the minors, but. No, yeah, it's funny. There's 3 or 4 major league guys that might have played 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the big leagues, and then they kind of run the locker room and control what's on TV. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a mix and match lineup that we put out there every night. But it's a lot of characters and a lot of different personalities, which is pretty cool.
Hey, you need to make a Disney movie. That's all I'm saying. That'd be a great Disney movie. All right, Jake. Yeah, Jake, thank you so much for being with us today on our podcast. We appreciate it. We appreciate your insight. Best of luck tonight. Hey, go for 4 for 4. You know, a couple of jacks, and that'll be all right. We'll be happy. Sounds good.
Hey, I'm going to try to hit a homer 4 times, so we'll see what happens.
We got you, brother. All right, thank you. Jake Skole with us today on today's Sports Report on UGA Football News. Join us again next time. Until then, all we have to say is, go Dogs.
UGA Football News would like to thank Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs, for sponsoring our program today. When the time comes to finance or refinance your home, make the smart choice and get your home loan from Southeast Mortgage. Your friends at Southeast Mortgage are ready to help you. Visit southeastmortgage.com/UGA today for more information. This and previous editions of today's Sports Report can be found at UGA Football News on Facebook and Instagram, on many leading podcast apps, and at todaysportsreport.com. Be sure to join us for our next program as we keep you up to date with University of Georgia football and more. Until then, be safe and go Dogs.